Welcome to Betting Weekly WTA, the women's tennis betting podcast, brought to you in association with Bet Rivers. I'm Rory Chawani. With me is Nigel Seeley. We're picking out our best bets in round one of the US Open at Flushing Meadows. Already live is our look at the futures markets. We did that yesterday, where we assessed the outright betting and players to win their quarters of the draw. Before we get started, make sure to like and subscribe to us on YouTube and your favourite podcast provider, and follow us on social media. The handle is @BecauseWeWin. And if you like what you hear on our shows, sign up for our newsletter. Get exclusive tips and the free Insider magazine. Sign up for free at www.bettingweeklystudios.com. Nigel, let's get straight into it. First match is one of yours that you wanted to have a look at. Anastasia Zakharova, -162 against Elina Avanesyan, +130. The spread is 2.5 games, totals 21.5. Now, Zakharova had a couple of good wins in Cleveland this week before falling to Sorana Cirstea. Avanesyan, on the other hand, she's had a really disappointing last few months, and she hasn't played for just over a month, so perhaps there's an injury there. Nigel, this is their first meeting. What's your take on this one?
Well, first of all, Roy, thanks very much for getting up nice and early. Got a nice early start. We've got a busy weekend, a busy week here on the channel, busy 2 weeks on the channel, and the views and the new subscribers over the weekend has been unbelievably strong. So thank you very much for everyone subscribing. Keep hitting that subscribe button as well. Lots of action going on, and we'll have you covered throughout the tournament here on the men's and the women's side for the US Open. Let's get straight back into the business at hand, finding winners in the first round. Well, you say they've never played. Well, they've never played on the main tour, but they have played on the ITF channel. Well, what they call the challenge? We're not the women's channel. I always call it a challenge.
It's just ITF, isn't it? There's challenges between the two, isn't it? And then you've got the ITF.
Well, on the ITF tour, they have played. It was a long time ago, back in 2019. So it was 6 years ago when these were very, very young. I mean, Zakharova is only 23 now, so you're talking when she was a 17-year-old. Avanesyan is 22, so she was 16 at the time. But Zakharova won it very, very comfortably, 6-3, 6-3. If you look at where they are now, there's not much in them in the world ranking. 100 for Zakharova, 95 for Avanesyan. But Avanesyan has dropped 60 spots in the last 18 months or so. This is a girl that is in real decline. She's lost all confidence in herself, the Armenian. If you look at her record, I mean, there may be some kind of injury. She hasn't played since that really poor tournament in Romania, is it Ash? Back in July,
Ash, yes,
where she got beat by Carly 2-0, and that was a really, really bad performance from her there. Obviously, clearly not at all at it. She was okay in the first set, but in the second set she got blown away 6-2. But prior to that, she was on a terrible run heading into that tournament, losing her last 5 matches, and obviously 6 losses in her last 7. Her last main tour win was back in Miami in March, which is a long time in the world of tennis. So that shows you the state that this girl is in. But that win was over Mira Andreeva, who come into Miami as the defending champion from Indian Wells. So that was a big win. She can do it on her day, but at the moment, I don't think this version of Avanesyan is short of confidence and is a player that is in awful form. Comparing to her opponent, Zakharova, I mean, look at their hard court record, 9-10 this year for Zakharova, 11-8 for Avanesyan. So Avanesyan has a better hard court record, but that was at the early part of the year. Zakharova's record has got better as the season's gone on. She comes in here in ideal prep, I think, in Cleveland, the way she did it there. She played a couple of tough matches in the first round, and then she played the Hailey Baptiste, a big winning round of the 16. She then had a bye against Lois, with the German, which was good, so she could rest a little bit. And then she played an informed Cirstea and got beaten in the semi-finals. I think that is ideal prep for a major championship. You don't want to be going to the final. You don't want to be exerting yourself too much. She had a rest up for the quarterfinal. She played a game against a better player in the semi-finals, and she come here. I don't think she's going to go deep, but she's coming in with the ideal prep. Avanesyan's form in this tournament is shocking. Last year she got beat in the first round. 2023 she made it round 2, which is her best. 2022 beat in the first round as well. And this is her Zakharova's debut in this tournament as well. The money line has been bet. overnight. It's minus 162 now. I've lost the interest in the money line because I think the price has gone a little bit. But I do think that the Russian will cover the spread here. And it is minus 2.5 games is the spread. It's minus 117. I think an informed Zakharova, great preparation up against an Avanesyan who hasn't played since July, hasn't won a match since March. If you want to put Zakharova in the money line at that short price of minus 162 in a parlay, I wouldn't put anybody off that. If you like your short prices and you want to have a bigger bet, that would be a recommendation for me. But my main official play here is Zakharova to cover the spread, minus 2.5 at minus 117. Obviously, there is an injury doubt with Avanesyan, and if Zakharova wins the first set and completes that first set, Bet Rivers will honour the bet as well, which is another Brucey bonus when you're opposing someone who may have an injury concern. So Zakharova, for me, the Russian getting off to a winning start against an out of form Avanesyan, minus 1.5, minus 2.5, minus 117.
So there you go. That's Nigel's first official play in the first match we're looking at. We'll move on to the second match. Emiliana Arango against Iga Swiatek, the reigning Wimbledon champion. Arango plus $15. Swiatek minus $100. She won't lose this. The spread is 7.5 games and totals 15.5. We did mention this when we were looking at the futures market yesterday. And you flagged this up because obviously, as you mentioned, Arango lost in the final in Merida earlier this year to Emma Navarro, 6-love, 6-love. And you said this could be a double bagel. And I'm inclined to agree with you there. Can Arango take a game off Iga Swiatek, especially this version of Iga Swiatek, who looks a totally different player on hard courts in the last few months? Obviously winning Wimbledon. She's just won Cincinnati as well. When I looked at this yesterday on the Bet Rivers site, we didn't have many markets up. We didn't have many. We had the one game spread market, and we didn't have any set scores. But I think things have changed a little bit. No, we still haven't got any sort of 6-loves or 6-1. That was kind of where I was kind of looking at. Some of you know that used to be my main method of betting. So I think, they might come up nearer the time, and I think, Swiatek to win the first set 6-love with a saver on the 6-1 would be the way to go. But you might have to wait till nearer the time for those markets to appear. Otherwise, under 15.5 games should cash at plus 107. I'd be very surprised if it didn't. Nigel, you've got a view on this one?
Yeah, the one thing that did interest me, I thought 7.5 on the spread didn't really correlate to 15.5 on the totals.
No. I
thought the total would be I thought the spread might be 8.5 and 15.5. But you can see that Swiatek is a heavy favourite, minus 143. I think Swiatek will blitz her 6-love, 6-1 in one of the sets, and then 6-love, 6-1 in that kind of match I see happening. We know that Iga Swiatek gets more bagels than any other player on the tour, and Arango, the last time she played a big stage like this, she was annihilated at 6-love. And you got to remember what Iga Swiatek's last match in a major was in a final, 6-love, 6-love. So yeah, it's going to be a very, very tough afternoon for Arango. And Iga Swiatek, I think, will cover that minus 7.5 fairly comfortably. And if you can get a nice price on a first set 6-love, what price do you think you're going to get?
$5 or $6 about 6-love, I reckon.
Really, I think you might be a bit. I think that's
$5.
You got to also remember as well, coming into this tournament, Arango has lost 8 of her last 9 matches. She's in awful form.
Yeah, she's a clay court player. She's a clay court specialist. I don't know how Merida was slow. Hard court, it was slow, so that gave her a chance. She's a very good scrambler, but, she's very liable to be overpowered. And, especially this version of Swiatek, who looks really good on hard courts. I think that's
her last main tour win was in the French Open. But the only worry that it's a bit of a bad omen for my first bet, because their only win in the last 9 matches was in Zakharova in qualification. And that's not a very good omen for me. But Yeah, it's right. Eager Swiatek win this, cover the spread quite easy. If you can get a price of 6 love, 5-6 to 1, great price, but I've got a feeling it might be a little shorter than that.
Let's move on to the third match on our menu. Maria Sakkari against Tatjana Maria. Sakkari minus 345. Maria plus 260. Even that price, just looking at that, Sakkari feels a bit short. She does lead the head-to-head 2-1, however. Maria won Queens in sensational fashion. She hasn't been so good away from grass. The Greek did show glimpses of form in Washington, but she's been very inconsistent, I should say. The spread's 4.5 games, totals 20.5. Nigel, what do you think here?
I think minus 345 Zakharova is a very, very, very short price. I mean, I don't understand why the price that is. I mean, Zakharova is not showing the greatest of form coming into this match. She's lost 3 of her last 4 matches. She got beat by Donna Vekic in Monterrey in the round 1, Paulini Pigulia. I know they're decent players, but she's not, to me, she's not a minus 345 shot by any means. Raducanu obviously beat her in the quarterfinals of Washington. But saying that, since she won the tournament over in at Queen's Club, Maria's been in awful form. You know, she did get to the final of Newport Beach the week after, and she's a grass court player through and through. But after that, just 2 wins in 8, I think it is. Got beaten the first round by Noskova, the second round in Noskova in Monterrey. But I just think the price is wrong. Both of them aren't in great form. The other thing that, Maria's a higher ranked player currently in the world rankings to Maria Sakkari. 43, Maria 62 Sakkari, and you can bet her at plus 260. The head-to-head is 2-2, but they've all been quite close matches. Every single one of their previous 4 meetings, which are 3 of them were in 2022, and 1 was back in 2014 when Maria won an ITF event against 7-5-6-3. But every single one of them has cashed over 20.5. So that is an option, over 20.5, which is minus 108. The other option here is to take Maria on the spread at plus 4.5 at minus 109. But in 3 of the 4 matches they've played, including in the US Open first round in 2022, when Sakkari was at her peak, I would suggest, and at Wimbledon, where Maria beat her. They played. It's a real strange head-to-head, this, because all 3 of the matches they've played have all been in majors, and all 3 of them were in 2022. So they played in the 2022 Australian Open, 2022 Wimbledon, and the 2022 US Open. Very odd, that. But 3 of the 4 matches they have played, Tatjana Maria has taken a set off her. And in one of the matches in the Australian Open, she lost a tie break. So I'm going to take Tatjana Maria plus 1.5 on the set handicap at plus 103, plus my money, to just basically win a set. If you want to take the over 20.5, I wouldn't put anybody off that. If you want to bet on the money line and you're brave, do that. But she is 38. It's the end of the season. Been a long season for her. She's got her kids travelling with her as well. I mean, she might think, I've done enough this year. I've earned enough money. I'm probably going to retire in the next year or so. It could be good for her. But I do think she'll make this competitive. So I'm going to go for Tatjana Maria plus 1.5 sets, plus 103 at Bet Rivers. I think she'll take a set here.
So there you go. As I said, when I first saw those odds, I thought Sakkari was very, very short based on the form she's in. So totally agree with you there. Next match, Daria Kasatkina against Elena Gabriela Ruse, or just plain Gabby. Kasatkina minus 175, Ruse plus 135. She has been backed. Last night, when I looked at this, Kasatkina was minus 190 and Ruse was plus 150. So there has been money for the Romanian. The spread is 2.5 games. That's moved from 3.5. The totals remains 21.5. Now, since Wimbledon, Kasatkina's record is 1-3, lost 5. She's very much out of sorts, and I don't see New York reviving her. I'd be very keen on Gabby Ruse if she hadn't lost her last 5 matches. But when you look at who she's lost to, she lost to Elise Mertens in the Hertogenbosch final, Madison Keys at Wimbledon, Katerina Siniakova in Prague, Emma Raducanu in Montreal, Aoi Ito in Cincinnati. That's the only one you'd really have expected her to win. And then she lost to Hailey Baptiste in Cleveland. I'm still tempted by Ruse on the money line. I was more tempted at plus 150. Maybe Ruse on the handicap is the safer bet. This one's just going to be a lean for me, Ruse on the money line. Nigel, you got a view on this one?
I was trying to I looked at this match as a potential match for me. Nothing really, but because I just want to fade Kasatkina at this stage of her career. I watched her at Wimbledon, and she played Samsonova, and she was really poor, like really, really poor. Lots of double faults. She was quite competitive in early stages, but as soon as she got to big crucial points, she made many unforced errors. And I got the feeling with her, I think she's a player that's probably hit her peak. She's sort of at the end of her career. I don't think she's going to bounce back and do anything over the next couple of years of her career. But when I looked at the form of Ruse, I just couldn't make a case to bet her at plus 135 or plus 150, even at the plus 150. I think the market wants to oppose Kasatkina for the reasons I said, but I would like to think that I think Kasatkina may have enough here, and then I would like to find a good matchup where we can oppose with someone with a bit more creditable form in round 2. But I think the logic to oppose Kasatkina is the right strategy.
Yeah, I certainly would agree with that. Let's move on to our next one. This is an interesting match. Lois Boisson plus 123 against Viktorija Golubic minus 152. The spread 1.5 games, totals 22.5. Of course, Boisson was the story of Roland Garros going all the way to the semi-finals. She also won the title in Hamburg, but clay is definitely her surface. Both of these players have been in Cleveland this week. Boisson fell to another Swiss player in Jill Teichmann. Golubic beat Katie Bolter before falling to Jinyu Wang. Golubic won their only previous meeting, but that was 4 years ago. Nigel, this is one that you've picked. What do you reckon here?
Well, I mean, everyone will know Boisson because of her run to the French Open, you said. But I like these kind of matches because people get carried away with the form that she's shown. Obviously, she's a higher ranked opponent here and things like that. But she's pretty much dreadful on any other surface other than clay, as you touched on there. And the stats here are just overwhelmingly will highlight that. 26 and 7 this year on clay courts. Very, very strong. That's as good as probably, that put her in the top 10 of clay court performances. Obviously, she played a lot of low level events, but to win a tournament, get to the run she did at the French Open as well, beat the opponent she did. She's a clay courter through and through. Any other surface, just one win. No wins on hard court this year. No wins on grass. One win indoors. Viktorija Golubic, on the other hand, is 12-7 on a hard court. And again, the prep is good. Gets to the final of a WTA Warsaw event, beaten by Siniakova in the final. Then goes to the quarterfinals in Cleveland. Has a tough match against Wang, but Wang comes through it. That's the kind of prep you want. You don't want to, I keep saying it you don't want to be winning a tournament. Every person who won the tournament before Wimbledon got beat in the first round in the tournament before. So that's the kind of ideal prep for you. The market has moved big in favour of Viktorija Golubic here, minus 152. Again, wouldn't be betting the minus 152 on the money one, but wouldn't put anybody off it. But I love the spread here, minus 1.5, because Boisson could have a complete meltdown in the set here on a surface that she's not used to. And I think Viktorija Golubic is the better player on the hard court. She did the head-to-head record you're referring to was back in 2021, and that was on clay, which I would argue is Golubic's worst surface, and it's by far Boisson's best service, and Golubic won 6-2, 6-4. So now it's on a hard court. Golubic is showing the better form this year. Good, solid form recently. A finalist and a quarter-finalist in the last 2 events against a player who hasn't won a single match on hard. I think Golubic will win this fairly comfortably again. So my bet here is minus 1.5 Golubic on the game handicap at minus 125. I also like Golubic to win 2 sets to love if you want to get a bigger price. And again, if you want to play the minus money, minus 152 Golubic, perhaps in a parlay with Zakharova or another bet that I'm going to come on to in a minute, could be the way forward. But my official play is Golubic minus 1.5 at minus 125.
So Nigel, very strong on Viktorija Golubic there, and with good reason against Boisson, who seems allergic to anything but clay. Moving on, Donna Vekic against Jessica Bouzas Maneiro, and this is another match where the odds have changed quite dramatically overnight. Vekic minus 112, Bouzas Maneiro now the same price. Last night, Vekic was minus 127 and Bouzas Maneiro was plus 102. So I'm glad I bet Bouzas Maneiro then. The spread now down to half a game. It was 1.5 games, and totals is still 21.5. The Spaniard's having a great year. We mentioned her a couple of times in recent weeks. Seems to be happy on all surfaces, although she did fall to Kamila Rakimova in Monterrey. That has been playing very, very quick indeed. She had a decent run in Wimbledon. And then in Montreal, she reached the quarterfinals where she lost to eventual winner Viktorija Mboko, fell to Arina Sabalenka in the last 16 at Cincinnati, pushed her close in the second set there. Vekic has been pretty poor in recent months. And I was surprised she opened up as favourite here. Her record since Madrid is 1-4, lost 8. And she suffered a really heavy defeat to Christina Buxa at Wimbledon, which was puzzling in the extreme. I'm very keen on Bouzas Maneiro. Not so keen now she's minus 112. But I still think, she's got the ground stroke. She's got the game to beat Vekic here. It's still going to be an official play for me. It will still be 1 point Bouzas Maneiro, but obviously it's minus 112 instead of plus 102. Nigel, any thoughts on this one?
I think I would, given the bet out the two, I'd probably take Bouzas Maneiro, but I bet her last week for the tournament. She let me down in a subpar performance, but again, I'm not really too concerned about that. She's been one of the stars of the WTA Tour this year, moving up the rankings at a very fast rate. A player that I think nobody would want to play, and I think Vekic might have a tough afternoon there.
So we move on. Beatriz Haddad Maia against Sonay Kartal. The Brazilian plus 120, Kartal minus 148. The spread's 2.5 games, totals 21.5. And Haddad Maia's season just seems to be going from bad to worse. She's now suffered 4 defeats on the bounce. But Kartal's had a bit of a dip in form. She broke into the top 50, but she's lost 3 matches in a row. The Briton did win their only previous meeting. That was at Indian Wells in March. And she lost just 3 games in the process. This is another of your matches, Nigel. My first feeling was that, because we know what Haddad Maia is like, she's got so much support, the Brazilian fans will get behind her. I thought Haddad Maia at plus 20 might be a touch of value, but she is in such poor form. It's hard to... But Kartal's not in great form either.
Well, I haven't got a bet on this one. It's just that I think it's a very interesting match to talk about. There's no official play for me. 2 players, like you say, are in absolutely terrible form. Haddad Maia's got a lot of points to defend this. She was the quarterfinalist last year, so she's under a huge amount of pressure. I mean, she's 20 in the world, but she's going to drop massively if she doesn't have a deep run here. So it's a massive, massive match for her. The support is something that is always underestimated by the bettors. I never, when you actually at one of these events and you see these support these players get, and the Brazilians here are fantastic, especially in Miami. The South Americans are incredible down there for obvious reasons. But there'll be a few Brits there as well. And Sonay Kartal has suddenly become a little bit of a popular player on the women's circuit as well. She battered her, didn't she, at Indian Wells, which is a 6-2, 6-1. But that was a slow surface. This is not going to be much quicker, really. I mean, I think it's going to be quite a slow, medium-paced US Open here. The conditions of weather aren't as hot. So I think this is a very, very interesting match. As you said, Haddad Maia is in awful form. Lost the last 4. Hasn't won a match since Wimbledon. Sonay Kartal hasn't won a match since Wimbledon. When this opened up, Bet Rivers saw a huge amount of money early doors for Sonay Kartal. The market is now drifting back to Haddad Maia. The plus 120 is the best price in America. If you want to bet her at plus 120, that's the best price Bet Rivers are off. That's the best price in the marketplace, the plus 120. But I think this is all about in running. I think this match is all about in running. Sonay Kartal, I watched the other day against Caroline Garcia. She couldn't serve. It was an out of sorts, Caroline Garcia. Garcia managed to grind her down. She had so many opportunities. And I think you'll know all about this match after the first 2 games. You see what Haddad Maia is there. You see what the mindset is Kartal. Both of them must be desperate for a win to improve their ranking or boost their ranking, and also for some confidence. So I think this is a really, really interesting in-play match, and I think you'll see a huge trading market here. I think they'll swing from player to player to player, and I think if you had an opportunity to bet Beatriz Haddad Maia now at plus 120, I would take it, and then I would bet Sonay Kartal at some side of the game at plus 120 as well. I think it's going to be a real topsy-turvy game, and I think there'll be swings all over the place because both of them are lacking any confidence and coming in with absolutely no form at all. It'll be a classic WTA match, this one, and I think it's definitely an in-play rather than a pre-match.
So there you go. Great trading opportunities to be had in Haddad Maia against Kartal. Moving on, just a couple more matches left to look at. Yulia Putintseva, we're talking about out of form players. She's one of them. She's plus 108 against Elisabetta Cocciaretto, minus 134. The spread 1.5 games, totals 21.5. Putinseva's lost her last 6 matches and looks completely shot. I have to say, I mean, she was really good last year, but this year's just been a nightmare. Cocciaretto stunned Jessica Pegula in round 1 at Wimbledon. She just lost out to Belinda Bencic in a 3rd set tiebreak there. Then she won the challenger on clay in Båstad in Sweden. She's not been brilliant since, but I think she'll have far too much for a totally out of form Putintseva. Putintseva has won both their previous meetings, but I'm very strong on Cocciaretto here. I'm kind of torn between 2 bets. I like Cocciaretto in straight sets at plus 175. And I also like Cocciaretto on the spread. Obviously, the spread there, minus 1.5 games, minus 113. If you wanted to be a bit bolder, you could go minus 2.5 games at plus 106. But I think I'm going to stick to the straight sets at plus 175. I think Cocciaretto wins this reasonably comfortably. What do you think, Nigel? I mean, Putintseva just in such bad form.
Yeah, it all sparked off in that row with Sakkari, wasn't it? When she said that nobody likes you, and and obviously her pride took a dent, and she's obviously got some kind of confidence issues after that. I mean,
she's been bad all year, though. I mean,
but to be told that everyone likes you, it doesn't like you. It's not very nice. But
she's never been popular anyway. She's always. I mean, she got in that row with the ball girl at the US Open last year. Do you remember?
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, but I mean, sometimes if you know you're being not very nice, they actually told you're being not very nice. I mean, I know I'm not very nice to people on here, but to actually be told me it's something different. But I don't care. It doesn't bother me. But it depends on the personality of the girl. The girl might have actually be taking it to heart, and her form since then is no coincidence that her form since then has been awful. I know it's had a bad season, but it's dipped since that spat with Sakkari. Cocciaretto has had a good year. She obviously beat Pegula at Wimbledon in round 1, didn't she? And I think she'll win this. And again, it was another one that was on my radar. It was on my short list of about 15 matches. There's so many matches, 64 matches, 40 different markets available, bet rivers, so many to go through. We could talk about many different games as well, but yeah, I think Cocciaretto will get the better of Putintseva, especially if the crowd get on her back as well, which, I don't think she's going to be popular. Because people go to these tennis matches and don't really know a lot about the players, but they will remember that, that's the girl that no one likes. That's the girl that... and then they suddenly want to cheer the other girl. It happens all the time. So, and it'll be on outside court. Fans will be close to the action. Italians in America, in New York, Cocciaretto.
Yeah, absolutely. Our final match. Magdalena Freck against Talia Gibson. Freck minus 139, Gibson plus 112. The spread is 1.5 games, totals 21.5. Freck's the 28th seed, but she's lost 3 matches in a row, not having the best of seasons. Gibson's 21-year-old Australian. Good results in ITF events. She's up to 107 in the world. Nigel, this is your match, their first meeting. Are you going to be opposing Freck here?
Yeah, this is my only moneyline bet of the first round, and I always look for an underdog that I think's got a good chance, and I think Talia Gibson fits the bill for an underdog that's got a good chance here. I mean, the Australian, she's up to 107 in the world. Doesn't sound a lot, but that is her career high ranking, and these two players are in totally opposites in their career. One's moving up at 21 years of age, and one's moving down the opposite end at 27 years of age. Freck's had an awful year, absolutely awful year. Only won 1 match out of 5 on grass, losing record on clay. Only 5 wins from 17 matches on hard court. That is the worst year of her career since she's been in the top notches. Talia Gibson on the up. I mean, good look. I watched her play against Wang in Cleveland. It was a rain delayed match, quite a heavy rain delay, but she looked really good, particularly in the first set. I thought, God, this girl's got something about her. She played well, and I think that she's got a chance here to upset the odds. I would definitely be looking at her to win this. Bet Rivers ever at plus 112, which again is one of the best prices. A lot of movement in her price. I think she'll probably start around about even money, but she looks good. 2 qualification wins, a good first round win, a test against Wang, losing in a tight match. Ideal prep, absolutely perfect. Whereas Frech, beaten in Cincinnati by Costia, hasn't won a match since Washington when she beat 45-year-old Venus Williams. So I mean, that's I think she knew if she could handle her emotions in that match and not be overcome by the person at the back end of the net, she was at the other side of the net, she was always going to win that match. So that to me isn't a great confidence boost that she's beaten Venus Williams. And looking at Freck's record at the US Open, it's a really bad record. She's played 4 US Opens. She's been beaten the first round in 3 of them, and she's only ever got to the second round once. When you consider this is a girl who's been in around the top 30 for a long period of time, it's not great. And now coming in with a very, very poor record and very poor recent form against an up-and-coming youngster who's hungry, who's good form, who's got nothing to lose. Talia Gibson on the money line at plus 112 is my final bet. So 4 bets from me. That's an underdog I like, and a couple of others where I think the favourite will cover, and obviously there's another dog I like winning a set. So yeah, 4 bets. There could have been many more, but they're the best 4 I found on the first round at the US Open.
Yeah, Nigel, do you run through your 4 bets in turn?
Okay, so Zakharova against Avanesyan. Now I think all my matches are on Monday. I think. Okay. I mean, we haven't seen the order of play just yet. Obviously, none of them are tomorrow. So the action starts. You've got to remember the action starts on Sunday. It took me by surprise actually the other day. I didn't realise it was going to start. But the action starts on Sunday. So if you like anything, you've got to get across today and early stages tomorrow. But I think all mine are on Monday. None of them are on Sunday. So I'm going to go for Zakharova against an out of sorts Avanesyan. I'm going to go for her minus 2.5 games on the game handicap at minus 117. I'm going to go for Tatjana Maria to get something from the match against Sakkari, and my approach would be to get her to win a set. So I'm going to go for Tatjana Maria plus 1.5 sets at plus money, plus 103. But I also like the over 20.5 if you want to get on that one. Boisson to beat Golubic. Don't get fooled by the form from the French Open for Boisson. She's a clay courter through and through. Golubic is a better player on this surface. I'm going to go for Golubic minus 1.5 games at minus 125. And finally, my dog is Talia Gibson, the up-and-coming Australian player, to beat Magdalena Freck, out of sorts Freck, terrible record at the US Open, plus 112 on the money line. 4 bets there.
And my 2 bets from round 1, Jessica Bouzas Maneiro to beat Donna Vekic on the money line at minus 112. She was plus money last night, but that price has gone. And Elisabetta Cocciaretto to beat Yulia Putintseva in straight sets, and that is plus 175. So there's our look at round 1 at Flushing Meadows on the women's side. But Nigel, you're going to be doing the same with Sean on the men's side.
Yeah, joining Sean after the show, actually. So a little bit later on today, the men's first round matches will be available. Obviously, there's also the outright picks for myself and Sean on Betting Weekly Game, a match for the men's draw. And you and I, Rory, have done the women's draw as well. Lots of stuff. Football as well, Premier League shows, which are going to Sunday and Monday this week, obviously, because of the way the Premier League's running now across 4 days. Loads of stuff on there. Huge amount of views from all the content this weekend. And I think this could be our busiest weekend on the channel. We've had the UFC. We've got the extra time boys have smashed it out of the park on week 1, 7.2 units of profit. So everyone is now working towards a very, very 2-week period, a busy 2-week period. Sean is flying to New York tomorrow. You can follow him on our socials at Because We Win. And I'll be out there on Wednesday as well. So a real busy period. And please hit the subscribe button if you like this show, you like any of our shows. click the subscribe button, ring that bell, be notified of any time any content will be dropped, because there's going to be a lot of it. If you like tennis, you like betting, and you want some winners in the US Open, this is the channel for you.
Yeah, and don't forget, there's the newsletter as well. Sign up for free at www.bettingweeklystudios.com. Thanks for joining us. We've got Betting Weekly Tennis Live, so we're going to have in-play action during the week from Flushing Meadows. We're going to have you completely covered for the final slam of 2025. And we're going to be back next week. I think next, is it Friday or Saturday for us?
Saturday, is it? Saturday.
So look, sort of an update. You'll be in New York at the time, won't you, Nigel?
Yeah, I can't have many late nights because I've got a lot of early mornings to be doing coming on with you because of the time difference. So, yeah, I'll be fresh-faced and ready to go in New York.
Looking forward to it. Cheers, Nigel, and thanks to all of you for watching. We'll see you again soon on Betting Weekly WTA.